Game developers often do one thing, make games, obviously. But the thing with making games is the more you make, the better you get at making them. And I've been pretty bad at game development for a while. So I wanted to see if I could go from bad game dev to good game dev. So to do this, I spent 1 year making different games, trying to improve my game development skills, and just trying to become a better game developer. So let's see what happened. To get started, we have to go back a little bit to the first game I made this year, which was a game called Clone.ai. Now, Clone.ai was not only the first game I made this year, but it was the first horror game I've ever made. I mean, unless you count my Minecraft horror game, which, the idea behind Clone.ai is that I wanted to make the scariest game ever. To do this, I would look at all the different tropes that horror games use and try to implement them all into one game. The premise of the game was that you played as a programmer who developed an AI program called Clone.ai. Clone.ai is supposed to be a program where you can create clones, but the program fails. The objective of the game was that the player would have to work their way through the map to find a computer that would shut off the clone. However, the ending reveals that the player was a clone the whole time. The horror tropes added to this game include atmosphere sounds, which was added through not having any music in the game, just atmosphere sounds. We also had a dark environment trope, which was just sort of in the game because of the black and white graphic style. We had sound effects, which were used with the atmosphere sounds to enhance the horror feel of the game. We had jump scares, which is one of the more popular horror tropes. To add jump scares in this game, I just added some more clones around the map and it worked. I also added a puzzle to the game, which was inspired by the Scary Maze game, where you would work your way through a maze using the mouse. On the final level, there were two endings, one that would complete the puzzle and unlock the door, and one that was a jump scare. The game also had realistic combat mechanics. I added a gun to the game that you could use to take out some of the clones, but I made it so you only had 5 bullets. Overall, the game was pretty fun to play, and honestly, it's one of the scariest games ever. Before we continue on with more games I've made, I want to tell you about another game that I didn't actually make. This game is called War Thunder, and they've sponsored this video. War Thunder is one of the most comprehensive vehicle combat games ever, where you can play more than 2,000 tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships in dynamic PvP battles. Every vehicle is very detailed and helps offer a highly immersive combat experience. You can play War Thunder for free on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. If you're looking for a fast, action-packed match or a more realistic and tactical experience, War Thunder offers different intense PvP battles at various immersion levels, so you can experience the game in plenty of different ways. The game also includes incredible graphics and detail in 4K resolution. One thing I really like about War Thunder are the amount of vehicles you can choose from for battle, as it gives you heaps of different ways to play the game. Play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, or Xbox using my link in the description. New War Thunder players across all platforms, as well as those that haven't played for 6 months, can claim a large bonus pack by using my link. This pack includes multiple premium vehicles, premium account, an exclusive 3D decorator for your vehicles, and much more. This is available for a limited time only. Back to the video. The next game we made was with the help of ChatGPT. Well, actually, the next game was made by ChatGPT. With the rise of AI, I wanted to see if AI could code Minecraft from scratch, so I used ChatGPT to try make Minecraft in Unity. This involved ChatGPT giving me a step-by-step guide on how to make Minecraft in Unity, and then I asked ChatGPT to do each step. We started with a terrain, then we made the terrain more blocky, like Minecraft. I added some trees, we got a player movement system, and our Minecraft remake was starting to come along. All the code in the game was generated by ChatGPT, including the next features we added, which were a block placing system, a block breaking system, and a terrain generation system. Overall, the final game was pretty much a remake of Minecraft in Unity. Now, sometimes game developers like to do challenges, like making a game in 24 hours, or 1 hour, or even 10 minutes. Now, I've made a lot of games in just 10 minutes before, but now that I was a horror game developer, thanks to Clone.ai, I wanted to make a horror game in just 10 minutes. So for our next game, we did that. 10-minute horror game. The idea for the game was to be a horror maze game where the player tries to escape a maze. However, in the maze are a bunch of enemies that will chase the player. I made a player sprite, an enemy sprite, a sprite for the wall of our maze, and a sprite for the finish of our maze, which is what the player needed to find to win the game. I created a player movement system, then I created the level by placing wall objects everywhere. To make this a horror game, I added a dark environment, and I created an enemy AI that would chase the player if the player was in distance, which also acted as a jump scare. And there we go, we had our 10-minute horror game. For the next game we made, well, ChatGPT made, again, I decided to see if AI could code a horror game from scratch. Similar to our AI Minecraft game, this started with ChatGPT giving me a step-by-step guide on how to make a horror game in Unity, and then I asked ChatGPT to do each step. We started by importing this forest asset, then asking ChatGPT how to make our game environment look more like a horror game. And after adjusting some of the settings, we had this. I then asked ChatGPT to code a player movement system, and our game was starting to feel like a horror game. The next thing we needed though was an enemy. So I asked ChatGPT to code an enemy AI. I added the AI code to an enemy asset, and our game now had an enemy. The last thing we needed was a jump scare. So ChatGPT coded a jump scare, we added it to our game, and here's what we got. So yeah, ChatGPT created a horror game. Now that we had created Minecraft with AI and a horror game with AI, I wanted to create another game with AI, but a little differently. I wanted to start by getting ChatGPT to give me a step-by-step guide on making a platform game. Then, after I follow all the steps, I wanted to get ChatGPT to give me features to add to the game. After I followed the initial steps on how to make a platform game, I ended up with this, which was a platform game. ChatGPT then wanted me to add enemies to the game, so I asked for an idea for a platform game enemy. ChatGPT gave me the idea for a slime enemy, which we added to our game. It was basically just a slime that would jump, and you had to time your jump correctly to get past the enemy. However, ChatGPT didn't just say to add one slime enemy, it said to add different variations of the slime enemy. So we also added this slime enemy that would move back and forth, which made it a little trickier to get past. I asked ChatGPT for another enemy idea, and the idea we were given was for a dasher enemy, which would pretty much dash towards the player. I added the enemy to our game, but the thing is, there was no way for the player to avoid this enemy. So I decided to ask ChatGPT, what should I add to my platform game next? ChatGPT suggested to add power-up orbs to the game. These power-up orbs would give different abilities to the player, including speed boost, invincibility, jump boost, and a projectile. After adding the power-up orbs to the game, the player had a way to take out the dasher enemy. After finishing the level, our game was complete. Now, for our next game, we were going to do something different. I was going to make a horror game, again, but this time in 3D and not coded by AI. For our next game, I wanted to make it using Unreal Engine. The idea for the game was to create a Mr. Beast horror game. Basically, the player was invited to participate in a Mr. Beast challenge video, where if you survive in a forest for 10 minutes, you win $1 million. I started by using an Unreal Engine starter template, which programmed all the complicated things of 3D game development for you. After that, I made the game environment. However, it didn't look like a horror game, so we set it to nighttime and gave the player a flashlight. Now we had a horror game. Our game needed an enemy, because the main idea for the game was that a possessed Mr. Beast would be in this forest trying to take out the player. I created an enemy AI system that would basically walk around the map looking for the player and follow the player if the enemy sees the player. I paid someone on Fiverr to create a 3D model of a possessed Mr. Beast for our game. We received this and added it to our game. The next thing I needed to do was add some objectives for the player to complete during the game. I added briefcases for the player to collect. Some would have money, some would have nothing. One of them even had a jump scare. After adding a timer and a spawn system to spawn in the enemy after 5 minutes, our game was complete. And there we go, we had a Mr. Beast horror game. And those were the games we created in 1 year. Did I go from bad game dev to good game dev? Well, I made my first horror game, I got ChatGPT to make Minecraft, I made a horror game in 10 minutes, I got ChatGPT to make a horror game, I made a game with ChatGPT telling me what to do, and I made a 3D horror game. So, no I didn't. Thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget you can play War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation or Xbox using my link in the description. And if you're new to War Thunder or haven't played in 6 months, you can claim a large bonus pack with my link. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like. You can also leave a comment and be sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Peace.